Hello and welcome back to our WEBfactory i4SCADA video series. In the previous videos of this series, we've covered the basic configuration of WEBfactory Studio signals and alarms. If you haven't seen those videos, I suggest checking them out before going any further, especially the Studio Getting Started video. Today we're gonna get practical and see how we can use i4SCADA software suite to directly control devices by writing values to their PLCs, or programmable logic controllers. Let's imagine our scenario. An operator needs to be able to start and stop two conveyor belts in our warehouse. For this to happen, each conveyor belt is connected to a PLC, which in turn is linked to the i4SCADA server via a connector. Then we need a visualization which allows us to write values to the PLC signals available in our server. Since we've already set up the i4SCADA demo project in the first video of this series, we're gonna use the signals buffer1 and buffer2 as our PLC signals for controlling the imagined conveyors. So let's start building the visualization that would help us achieve our goal. In a new SmartEditor project, start by adding the core component to handle the connection to our server. Next, we'll add the devices we need to control. We'll add the first conveyor and set it up to show its state, stopped or running. We're gonna create the two states as follows. When the PLC signal value, which is buffer1 for our first conveyor, is 0, the conveyor will be stopped. I'll use the red state class to represent the stopped state. When the PLC signal value is 1, the conveyor will be running, and I'll use the green state class to represent the running state. I'll also add a signal value display control, so we can see the exact value our PLC signal has for each state. I'm gonna quickly set up its label text and connect it to the same buffer1 signal. Now let's add the means of controlling our conveyor. I'll use a switch button, which I'm connecting to the same buffer1 signal. In its on position, it will write the value 1 to our signal, while in its off position, it will write the value 0. Let's duplicate the first set of controls to represent our second conveyor. I'll adjust the settings of each control in the second set, so that the buffer2 signal is used. I'll also add two master controls that can start and stop both conveyors in the same time. First, I'm gonna configure a button control for which I'm setting the text property to Start All. Since it's gonna be our Start All button, it will write the value 1 for both PLC signals. I'll use the Write Items property to write both signals in the same time. Now duplicate the Start All button and transform it into a Stop All button. I'll change the button text and set the Write Items values to be 0. Now we have a complete visualization that allows us to control our two conveyor belts. Let's publish the project and start the i4SCADA server. In the web browser, access the localhost /i4SCADA URL. The visualization is up and running. Let's try and start our conveyors. You can see their visual states showing the running green color, while the signal value display shows 1. Perfect. We can also control each conveyor individually using the switch buttons, or stop them altogether. But how about making sure that only the right operator can control the conveyors? i4SCADA provides complex security options to satisfy all possible policies, but in our case, we need to make sure that only our operator user can actually write values to the PLCs. For this, we will use the right security options available in i4SCADA Studio. The first thing we need to do is head into the Settings section and under General Server Settings, enable the security option. This will activate the settings that we will make next. The first right security setting is making sure that the signal group in which our two buffer signals are is set to read and write, not unsecure, just simple read and write. This makes all the signals in this signal group readable and writable only by logged-in users. Next, we need to make sure that the two signals we are using belong to a write group. Any signal belonging to a specific write group will be writable by the i4SCADA user that has authorization for that particular write group. So let's create the authorization group for the write group we've just selected in our signals. In the i4SCADA Studio, head in the Settings section and open the User Manager. Using the top left drop-down menu, access the Authorization Group view. Use the Add button to create a new authorization group. I'll name mine Can Write Signal Group 1. And in the Write Group section, I'll check the Group 1. Now let's create the user we need. Select the User view and use the first Add button to create a local i4SCADA user. I'll name mine Operator, and in the Authorization Group section, I'll select the authorization group we've just created. Save the new user and click the Password button to add one. I'll also create another user, not Operator, that won't have this authorization to use the signal's write group. To load the new settings, restart the i4SCADA server. Now that our project has the security settings we need, let's jump back in SmartEditor and make sure our user can log in to the visualization. Add the user login control to the page and publish the project. Let's get back to our browser and refresh the page. Since we're not logged in with any user, the secure read and write settings of our signal group prevents us to write any values to our signals, thus prevents us from controlling the conveyors. Now let's log in with our operator user. Since we're logged in with a user and that user has the authorization to the write group assigned to our signals, we can now control our conveyors as needed. But what happens if we indeed log in with a user, but one that is not our operator? Let's log in with a not operator user we've created. Since we're logged in, the signal group read and write permission allows us to write signals, but since our particular signals buffer1 and buffer2 are members of the write group 1, for which the not operator user is not authorized, we won't be able to control our conveyors. This concludes our third video of the i4SCADA series. We've seen how we can use different SmartEditor controls to manipulate signal values and how the signal write security options impact our visualizations. In the next videos, we'll dive deeper in the configuration options of i4SCADA Studio, so stay close and keep an eye on our YouTube channel.